Dave, before we move on into our next topic, let's talk a little bit about the sponsor of today's show, and that is Manscaped. If you are somebody that needs some extra help grooming below the waist, my balls have never felt smoother, Dave. It is a great feeling. I love it. And yeah, it's every man should feel balls as smooth as I have. Support for MVP Sports Live is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in below the waist grooming. What?
Are we not doing phrasing?
We are not doing phrasing. Who are the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below the waist grooming needs. This is a Lawnmower 3.0. I've showed it off for about 3 weeks now. Some
Has it been
features.
3 weeks?
Well, I mean, no, 1.5.
Not.
You're right, 1.5. My counting's off. But yeah, 1.5 battery. Can be used in the shower, does not nick you, which is the most important part, because I don't know if you've ever gotten nicked on the balls, Dave. You could get cut anywhere on the body. It's like, you know what, that's a little cut, doesn't matter. You get it on your balls, and you're like, ooh, that stinks. Oh, that stinks.
It's a panic moment. It's definitely panic.
Yeah, this will not do it for you. This will make them feeling smooth, and you won't have to worry about nicks. So go right now, get 20% off and free shipping with the code MVP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code MVP. Your balls will thank you. But Dave, let's move from the football world into the basketball world, and we're talking a little bit more trades. Trades on trades on trades. And the first one, there is news coming out from Shams, Dave, that apparently 2 teams have contacted the Pistons about a trade for Derrick Rose. I mentioned yesterday at the end of our Wolves conversation, man, just put Derrick Rose on a contender. I want to see him get a ring before his career is done. Now, one of these teams won't be getting him a ring this year. Another one could. Knicks and Clippers, both in the running, apparently, have both contacted the Pistons for Derrick Rose. Dave, out of these two, is there one that excites you, one that doesn't, or is there none of these that excite you?
Tom, let him go. Let him be free, Tom. You can't stalk him your entire coaching career. It's getting creepy. I don't think he appreciates it.
Rose would also be coming back to New York. He's played for New York already, Dave. Yes, remember that.
But it's Tom Thibodeau being creepy now. Like, great, coach in Chicago, loved you, moved on. Oh, and then got him again in Minnesota, and now he's trying to give him for a third time on the Knicks. Like, I get it. You love Derrick Rose. You love Taj Gibson. You got him in there. Like, it's just let him go, Tom. Let Derrick Rose get a ring. Let that man get a championship. That's what needs to happen here. Going to the Clippers gives him the best possible chance to get a championship out of those 2 teams, at least. No disrespect, New York. You're overachieving. I think you're very happy with what you have done this year, but you don't want Derrick Rose to take away minutes from like Emmanuel Quickley. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. So I get it. It's just Tom Thibodeau has an obsession. He needs to fucking get over it. But yeah, Derrick Rose, Clippers, massive pickup. Clippers are already one of the best offenses in basketball. For those who don't know, but they would be helped out by someone who can help carry an offensive load off the bench. Straight up Lou Williams improvement. 6th man of the year, 18 times running Lou Williams. The award's going to be renamed to the Lou Williams Award shortly, but Derrick Rose would be a massive improvement for them because he does facilitate. He does play a little bit of defense, and he has that it factor to his game. And having Kawhi Leonard who can knock down a big shot for you, it's great. But having Derrick Rose and Kawhi Leonard who can knock down big shots for you, even better. Even better, Ricky. Because you don't want Paul George taking last-minute shots. No. That's the worst-case scenario.
Remember when we went to the Bulls OKC game, Dave? In the UC? You, Sean, and I went, and it was a last-second shot, and it was like, oh, man, I hope Paul George makes a shot. He's going to brick it, and he bricked it.
He did. We literally called the shit out there.
And like, he bricked it.
That's exactly what it is. So, I mean, look. The guy's got a reputation. He's shooting 50-50-90 this year, so like whatever. But the point is, Derrick Rose has an it factor to him. He's electric. He's exciting. He's a great guy on the court. Hashtag on the court. We will continue to say that.
Yeah.
I want to see him win a championship. So I would prefer if he would go to the Clippers now. Please and thank you.
Yeah, and here's
Warriors would be fun. Clippers would be great. Lakers would be insane.
Yeah, and
Prefer the Lakers.
here's the only thing I have with a Derrick Rose trade is what's the value for Derrick Rose? Like
Late one.
Okay, so a late one. Okay. So if that's the case,
I think it's just a matter of you find a contract that's close enough. It doesn't even have to match because I think the Pistons are going to be making multiple moves this year, and there's a lot of guys who will be moved off that team who they've just been cycling through, kind of. So I'm excited to see what they can do to make contracts work. But like I think they'll have room for whatever you want to ship them.
Yeah, and so that's why to me I feel like out of these two teams, the Clippers are the team I'd want to see him with.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem is the Knicks, I think, have the better package. And the only reason why I say that is so right now the Knicks have the cap space to where they don't have to give up anyone in the deal. And they have basically 3 first-round picks to work with. They have their own. They have Dallas's. And then they also have the Clippers pick, which is a swap with New York outgoing. So basically it says here, New York has the right to swap its 2021 first-round pick for the Clippers pick, protected for selections 1 through 4, and is therefore not conveyable. Then the LA Clippers obligation to New York is extinguished. So I'm going to undo that because that's not going to convey. Because both the Pistons and the Knicks are going to have higher picks. So, like, what? You're either doing a deal where if I'm the Knicks, I can give you the Dallas pick and get Derrick Rose straight up, or if I'm the Clippers, it would basically be a Derrick Rose for Lou Will swap because of contracts, and then you get 2 2s.
Yeah, I think Derrick Rose, Lou Will swap in 2 2s. On the Knicks side, I wouldn't give up. What's up?
You think that's an overpay? Just one of the Dallas picks?
I think a straight Dallas first rounder, which could be anywhere from 16 to 24, is an overpay. Yes,
I guess
Derrick Rose is not worth that. I mean, I guess he is if he wins you a championship, but that's not what the Knicks are looking at. So, I mean, I think that in the Knicks situation, they can match 2 2s and toss in something else, like some young player who's not getting minutes on their team. Maybe toss in Frank, toss in DJ, because obviously the Pistons need a point guard. Give him Frank or DJ. Frank makes the most sense because give him another European player. The Detroit Pistons love European players.
I was gonna say, do they need a point guard? I know Killian is injured and he's a rookie, but like. Isn't he the point guard of the future? That's what they drafted him for.
Yeah, clearly Frank isn't the starting point guard, so there's no competition. It's just you need a body who can play point guard this year, and then you need a backup point guard of the future who you could probably get him to a really cheap re-sign because he's at the end of his rookie deal, right? So
yeah, he's on the last year of his deal. Yeah. What about and yet again, I don't even know if the Pistons would want this.
I would do Frank and a 2 for Derrick Rose.
What about Kevin Knox and 2 2s?
I think Knox they want to keep. I think Tom sees something in Kevin Knox, and he wants to work with him. Look, I'll be the first to tell you we've shit on Kevin Knox multiple times before, deservedly so.
Yeah, the kid who got his candy taken away.
Yeah, and it was the funnest fucking moment of summer league I think ever. Yeah. Outside of Taco Fall, coming into a game, just entering the game was just pandemonium. But yeah, I think that Kevin Knox still has upside in Tom Thibodeau's system, working with him, developing his game. Again, he was a raw prospect coming out, so like he just hasn't hit anywhere, Yeah. I think they want to keep him. I think they're looking to move on from DJ or I'm sorry, not DJ, Dennis Smith Jr. Or Frank would be the likely in a 2. I think one of those 2 guys in the second rounder would get a deal done for Derrick Rose in my mind.
But for the Clippers, it would have to be Lou Will and 2 2s. Okay. Which, if I'm the Pistons, I would just to me, because Lou Will, he's done at the end of the year. We're just letting him walk. You're letting Lou walk.
You just fucking try to flip him right back. Okay. So who wants Lou Will now? Yeah. If I'm the Pistons, I'm playing this straight up like 2K. I've got a player who is a valuable veteran to some team because of his contract, because he can score. Someone might want Lou Will. If anybody wants Lou Will, we'll take picks. They're such a young team, and I'm not sure Lou Will is exactly the veteran on the roster who you want to set the tone, you know?
Who could they flip Lou Will to?
I don't fucking know.
Like, I mean, what playoff team?
I get one thought ahead of myself. I don't get 3 steps in front.
Because I'm just thinking, like, what playoff team
style would be what I would expect? Like, what Clarkson, you know? So if I'm looking at the NBA standings, being realistic, who needs a scoring punch off the bench at the guard position?
I want to say the Nuggets, but not really the Nuggets, right?
Monty Morris is a supreme facilitator for them, and I think MPJ is starting to put on. So I think they're going to be okay. I might look at a team like Atlanta if they continue to have struggles in their backcourt. Come close to trade deadline, Atlanta might be someone who's willing to ship off. Like, Rondo didn't do shit for us. Like, I could see them moving on from Rondo. They picked him up as basically he could be a mentor. He can share his massive brain with Trae Young, but he's done nothing on the court. So they could look to move on from him. I think the Nets would be interesting because the Nets, I mean, who the fuck knows?
Now,
that's not a problem, just for fun, you know?
I'm going to throw this out. Right now, that's not a late pick, is it?
I'm but
looking.
Then, yeah, in the West,
it's not a late
I don't
pick
know,
right
man.
now.
It's tough. Like, the Western playoff picture is so murky. Dallas would be interesting, but again, I like Brunson out there. I think he's a great backup guard, but they could use another guy who can get his own points, and I think he would thrive in Dallas's offense. So, Dallas Mavericks, outside chance.
So the only question I have here is, if the Hawks are getting Lou Will, would they be giving up, if their pick is in the play, like out of the lottery, would they be giving up
one for Lou Will?
Okay, so they're giving up a 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So
basically like a 2 and a contract filler.
Okay. So basically the trade that I'm working with here, let's see if it works. Yeah, you're right. So if the Pistons tried to include the Hawks in the deal, the Hawks would have to find $7.9 million to flip to the Pistons for contract reasons. So, like, either a Rajon Rondo or a they're not trading DeAndre Hunter.
Really not.
Like a Chris Dunn and then somebody else. Like, they would have to flip pieces in order to get Lou Will on that team. So that's why it's like, I like the Clippers, but yet again, could the Pistons, I think the way they'd flip it is so they don't have to deal with the recently traded bull crap. They would do basically what the Rockets did, where it's like, okay, before this deal gets done, let's
the deal can be completed. It's just a matter of you can't play for your team. Like, it's you have like that window.
Yeah. So like how they added the Cavs, they added the Pacers.
Team.
Yeah.
I think the Mavs would be a great team if they could flip him to the Mavs.
Because, hey, they've got second-round picks. They just don't have first-round picks.
I got it, too.